Takes a couple seconds.
But man, yeah. But thank you.
Take a little more time than I said. I believe this is gonna be done.
We are back on the record, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, yeah,
Thank you, Chairman. At this point, we're actually going to just ask to adjourn the proceedings. We're gonna take your comments and thoughts and suggestions into consideration. We're gonna have a transcript made so we can look over these items. And we would ask to be scheduled for the next regular board meeting, which I think is in 2 weeks.
Yes, it is.
Terrific. So we can do that with no further notice required. We are gonna have our traffic engineer back next time. So I don't know whether the board is hiring a traffic consultant. I know Mr. Simoff, I do know he's a traffic consultant, but he doesn't sit in that capacity. He's a board member.
no,
So we expect that we'll be able to provide our traffic testimony and get into many of the points that were raised here today, how the loading dock works and various items, how the garage works, and the testimony that you've not yet had the opportunity to hear from the applicant. Although we understand we've received your comments and thoughts in that regard. So with that said, and I will state for the record as well, Mr. Much is still under oath. He will be back here, our engineer. Public
Yeah.
hasn't had an opportunity to question. I don't think the board had a full opportunity to question our engineer on his testimony tonight for that matter either. So he will be back and will return here in 2 weeks' time. We look forward to it.
Before we adjourn, Mr. Chairman, if I may, because the issue was raised with respect to a traffic engineer, if the board wanted a independent traffic engineer to assist with the process or not, whether it's necessary or not. I don't know what the answer is for the board will decide, and, but since the issue is raised, a determination is gonna have to be made at some point, yes or no.
We're just suggesting that we were to do it tonight, so he's available when and there.
If it's the pleasure of the board, it should be, addressed and certainly or start all over again, the next time, and traffic is testified to, and people haven't decided yet whether or not they want an expert. I mean, that determination should be made soon, right?
And he is gonna be testifying in 2 weeks' time, so.
but no, just the report's the report, right? It's been.
Correct.
That's it.
Yep.
So the question is, does the board wish to retain a traffic engineer? And if so,
I'm gonna
we can
defer to-
address it if they want, and who, if so.
My preference would be to ask Hal. He's the one that has the expertise in terms of whether he feels the report that's been filed merits the board getting its own traffic engineer. That would seem to be the most prudent use of our resources.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last one.
Yeah,
I didn't hear the last.
that would be the most prudent use of our resources.
Because if we are going to have a traffic report, and a review of their analysis ready for the next meeting, why don't we decide whether we want to have an expert tonight and then leave to you the decision after you talk to Hal as to whether to go forward with the retention of an expert, if that is procedurally appropriate.
It's the board's discretion to determine which experts they feel they need to assist the board in making determinations. And the applicant is free to address, but in any way, shape, or form they want. But the fact of the matter is, generally, if the board needs an expert, it is paid out of the escrow provided by the applicant.
What I'm suggesting is that we authorize it tonight, but authorize Bob not to go forward with it. If he talks to Hal and determines that Hal's sufficient to provide that expertise.
Do you have any objection to that process? Mr.
I know,
Marcelo,
listen,
do you have your
I think
point?
it's the board's discretion, if they want to hire a professional. For a conforming redevelopment project, if that's what you want to do. We would just ask, if you're gonna have an expert, that they be here, at the next meeting and we'll have done their reviews and. I don't know if it's gonna be somebody from Ms. Bradley's, firm or whomever. We would ask, that we be provided with notice. We're gonna defer to Hal, and Hal's gonna say you should have one. We'd like to know who it is and be able to interface with them. This is a straightforward, traffic study, for a conforming plan, so.
Are you okay with, is the board okay with Jeff's suggestion? No?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was asking internally if our members are okay with Jeff's suggestion.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and is Steve okay with that?
And, as for expert, does Boswell have an expert that could serve for that capacity?
They do, yes. It's been it's been a while since this board has needed a traffic expert, so.
It's really just a matter of reviewing their report, I think, and commenting on it.
And if they need to be here in 2 weeks, that's short notice, so.
So I have my assignment, can you take that as a, find out?
I can, I can. Definitely
Find out that. Super Bowl's over, so. All right,
Long meetings.
thank you. I appreciate it, actually. Well, of course, I appreciate that, sure. And I'll try to get you other suggestions.
Well, other suggestions,
We need to do it here, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I need to know whose suggestions they are. Are they suggestions on the entirety of the board? I'm trying to understand that, but just think about it and
No,
you don't need to answer. So, yes, I just want to make sure we make an announcement.
you have plenty to digest, I understand it. It's just, it may not be obvious how to keep you financially whole. But you've.
Well, yeah,
You have some
we're
ideas.
focused on presenting a project and the project that was designed and conceived with the redevelopment and so forth. And,
Right.
I spent a lot of time coming in here, with something that fully conforms where we are not asking for any variance relief.
We know,
Only
we
design, so.
realize that.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Okay.
different than what our objective is, so. But we
I'm sure.
understand, we understand. We understand. The key is that everybody ends up, we hope, winning for such a critical initiative. And we want to be sure that it's a premier project. We want to be sure, as part of the win-win-win, we want to be sure it's profitable. And really a reference. So. But once again, I appreciate that. So,
So I think we just need an announcement of an adjournment.
Yeah, no, I was,
and, there'll be no
wanted to
further
flush out
notice
the
and-
traffic issue from the board's perspective, what the board wanted to do.
right,
So I guess we have a work in progress to see if there's a traffic engineer available for the next meeting,
correct,
and to review the report in the interim.
correct.
And, it seems that's the pleasure of the board, so we appreciate that the applicant understands it, and that's what the board, needs, and that's what the board will do. So the announcement, as I understand it, will be carrying this matter without further notice, please give me the date, Denise?
Date is.
Our next
I
meeting?
believe it is the 20, let me just, hold on. I don't see it. It's the 22nd.
Yeah, right, 27.
Thursday, February 22, 2024. 7:30 PM in the same location. Pursuant to the law, the applicant, does not have to give us further, that is the further notice, that is the notice to the public. I don't believe we need an extension of time to act. So we're covered, that's the cat.
You actually probably should get one.
Don't,
There are no variances. This has been pending.
Okay, extension of time.
I'll
act
extend it
end
to
of
the
month of
27th.
February?
Yeah.
End of the month of February?
Yes,
Thank you, council. And if you could just send us a writing email letter is fine.
that's fine. We'll do. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. I'm sorry, can you say, okay. Yeah, great. Can I just take a picture of the making to make sure that one.
Come up to the arch, he already- it's right there.
Oh, it was, okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, they're right there.
Do you want me
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, we're still on the left.
I know we are.
I need to announce you're free to stay.
Okay, how many days is that? Because I think I.
Chairman,
that I-
doesn't have to use this camera. Can I?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think I probably need more than 5, but that's fine.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care, so nice to see you, thank you.
All right, so we have pending application, review pending applications, other matters. We've got Equinet.
No, they're not scheduled yet.
They're not scheduled.
They gave us an extension of time until,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. If it is- I don't want to shut the door, it's an open public meeting, but maybe people can be quiet and move down if they're, if they don't want to stay.
If everything doesn't come in at the next meeting, the revised application,
Yeah, I think,
do we have to formalize the denial of the?
no, here's, thank you, I did want to address that. My understanding is as of now, we have a time to act extension, to February 29. We have one more meeting as we're all aware before that extension. What I would recommend to the board to recommend or direct Denise to do is to contact applicants' counsel and find out whether they intend to proceed on the 20th or at any time shortly thereafter. And in which case we can decide whether to accept a further extension of time or at a certain point, and it's not quantified in the law, it's reasonable, the board can decide more appropriately, the applicant may want to withdraw the application without prejudice if they're not going to proceed. Without prejudice, meaning they can come back, there's no prejudice, but they should not clog up the board's calendar, so to speak, indefinitely. I won't determine, the board can determine when it's time when it's been too long on the calendar. But what I can also do though, after Denise contacts the applicant's counsel, is you can encourage them to talk to me if there's any questions. And if they want to extend the time to act, we can talk about it at the next meeting, how much longer we wish to have them extend.
If they don't reply, do we have to deny it at the next application?
No, I know what you're getting at, a denial, so there's not an automatic approval, and I expect they'll respond before the 29th, I think, or the meeting, the 22nd. Their counsel has been fairly responsive, in my opinion, and I guess
With me
Denise's
as
as
well.
well. So I don't think we have to worry about that, but we're on top of it.
Do we owe them any response? They sent the letter, right? That was them, right? That was Equinet, right? That sent the letter to us about their disappointment in it. The whole explanation, they explained the whole history of the application.
Okay,
And
then,
we're in receipt of that.
all right.
And was there supposed to be any action that we needed to take to them? Basically.
They have to decide whether they want to proceed with the application or not. I mean, short answer, no.
There was
But,
nothing, but we did receive that, it was
I'll
just,
make sure that in addition to Denise speaking with applicant's counsel, as I said, I'm gonna speak to applicant's counsel. So not only with respect to the extension, but any other concerns. The bottom line is it's like a court. If they want to appear before they can, if they want to change their application or if they want to withdraw it.
yeah, no, I didn't know what they were asking for, in a sense, they just, the letter just explained everything that had gone on and why they thought this and why they thought that. and-
I think rather than talk about the
You know what letter I'm
substance.
talking about, right?
Yeah, no, I'll get the letter, and, but again, proceed, first of all, substantively, we're not gonna discuss the matter,
No,
but procedurally,
I just
between
wanted to
now and the
sure
next meeting,
procedure,
we'll get confirmation whether they're proceeding or not, and whether they're gonna extend the time to act or not. Or, you know, whether they're gonna ask for withdrawal without prejudice or not, we'll get all that resolved in advance of the 22nd.
right, which is the ending, I just wanted to know if we were obligated to respond
No
to
obligation.
the letter, it sounds
But,
like.
but my conversations with council will in effect.
Okay,
be
no,
that
it was
response.
just part of the whole thing, okay. Let's see. And reserves, this. Let's say. Incomplete, right, still, number 2, right, Angela Cruzetta and Zoe, and then revisit review of Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Try and get that scheduled. So, given everything that's going on the agenda right now, it's really problematic.
Given what's going on, it's.
We're busy.
Yeah.
Got major applications.
Okay,
We'll figure out.
okay. That's all right.
Yeah, we were just asked to place it back on the agenda. Last meeting, question was raised.
Okay. So now, any surviving visitors, you have a second chance to, discuss anything not related to the agenda.
Okay, have a good night.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
See you next time.
And, go ahead.
Do I need to be sworn in?
Nope, no, but just name it.
No swearing.
I won't swear. Carrie Hazelton, 397 Minebrook Road. I just
I'm
want
sorry, is it Carrie or Carrie?
to, Carrie, Kerry,
Thank you.
yeah, Hazelton, Haselto. Sorry,
And I'm sorry, your address again?
397 Minebrook Road.
Thank you. My note taking has gotten a little slower as the night has gone.
That's understandable. I just wanted to, we got to the point where we were scheduling for the next meeting on February 22nd at 7:30, and I just wanted to let the board know that there were a lot of people that were driving around looking for parking tonight to get into this meeting to attend. And I got here 15 or 20 minutes early and there were only a couple spots left. So just wanted to float the idea of possibly seeing if we could get a larger venue or a place with more parking for the next meeting. That was all I needed to convey. Thank you.
Well, there's different things, creating more space would be like, can we get permission to park in the
Right.
firehouse parking lot or something? We wouldn't notice it, what,
Parking across the street, maybe with some kind of escort across.
parking, in our applicant.
Yeah.
Still ours. You can't change the place of the meeting.
No, it would just.
Oh, did you just say?
Potentially.
There were also efforts to find alternative locations that were unable to effectuate.
Yeah, without the option of, virtual, attendance and, input, we lose out on some people if they can't. All right.
But maybe
Maybe we could.
they can look into, parking options. I think Denise heard that and to look into that.
We
And
should let,
inquire what can be done from the borough.
we should let the parking study group be aware of the unusual event that requires parking. They probably wouldn't think of it.
Is it Johanna Wissinger, Washington Corner Road? I just wondered, could we have microphones? The council has microphones and it'd be nice if everyone could be heard.
Well, it's right there.
No, I think she means microphones for the board members and for the board professionals
Amplification of voices within
Yeah, that would.
with perhaps one exception, because if we took a
Right.
vote, I don't know that anybody.
We can always show you my.
We've got our,
Exactly.
we've got our anti-speed canceling earphones on.
There you go, there you go.
Do they even exist? Does this system even exist? this
I
year?
wasn't
Yeah.
aware that there were microphones.
You are-
I've never-
Microphones on your, when,
The council always has.
Kind of days.
I was thinking I was.
Yeah, so
So I
I
have
think,
like a simple wired mic to speaker setup, but maybe for a public commenter, but it wouldn't apply to everyone.
it would be, rather than, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, rather than a dialogue at this point, maybe inquiry could be made
Yes.
with the chairs, with the board's permission
Yeah.
to the borough to see if microphones can be available for one or more of the following: the board members, the witnesses testifying, the board professionals, with the exception that we are all aware of, and then members of the public, when they speak, can utilize the microphone that the witness is using, if we can't get an extra one.
There's gotta be a borough council karaoke machine. All right, so that's.
I'm not
we're
used to
gonna leave
playing
it
the straight guy in the comedy routine. Mr.
We're gonna
Chairman.
ask, we're gonna ask
This is what we.
you have after hours.
Right.
I have no access.
Denise, we're gonna ask the, Anthony or whatever, about what the council uses.
Yeah, I will, but the
That's
interesting thing is, he's the one that showed me this and said that this is what they do, so now I'm really confused. But I'll
Let's
be-
go
I'll
back and try to figure out if we could get microphones to amplify people's voices. It's not too difficult to request.
No.
We'll see if it can be accommodated.
Used to be a stand-up, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yes.
Because our plans would always hit.
Want to do plus over feedback?
That was back when they had these.
Okay, any other?
We have another member of the public, Denise.
Chief Senator Chilton, just two quick things, one to follow up with, why did the schedule change from, am I mistaken? That it was originally, we're gonna go back to the hybrid, and then now it's just, I thought the last time we met in December, you will, it was going to go back to the hybrid after the incident. And now it's not, so I was just wondering if.
I don't know.
I don't have to do it, take the time here whenever it was here.
Right, I don't, but it's a public meeting, so I don't know if it was ever decided. First of all, by hybrid, I'm assuming you mean
Well, that you could also speak.
Zoom, because there's different types of.
Yes, yes.
Oh, but you're talking about,
For
like
the public being able to speak
Please.
also.
Zoom and in person, both?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, that is what we refer to nowadays as a hybrid. I was not aware of any decision made by the board, or any authorization for the borough to do a hybrid. So I don't,
No, I think we wanted this application specific, we wanted to be sure that we
Yeah.
got last year's and all the continuing apps done conventionally, but that the new apps.
Yeah, I was pretty sure
were gonna
we
be
talked
hybrid.
about that,
That's
made
what-
arrangements for
I
it.
think we at least promised to look into it.
Yeah,
right, well, I don't know.
Well, I had in mind that the way we ended up was YouTube with live stream. No comment.
No, I think what
That's
we
what it
ended up,
became.
I think what we ended up was for the balance, for all matters which were already noticed, so we didn't have to renotice them.
right,
We would do in person only. But going forward in the after the year, we would at least look into the possibility of doing hybrid meeting in which there was actual public participation in the room and also via Zoom.
That's what I remember.
Now,
For hearings as well?
for hearings as
Well,
well.
again, that can, and if I understand correctly, then, there was not a commitment to do that, but, to look into it. That matter, I guess it can continue to be looked into. There are there are issues and cases out there with respect to the difficulties of trying to do hearings different from public comment in a governing body meeting. In fact, there's a whole set of different regulations under the protocols for handling remote proceedings. And the most difficult is the hybrid, because everyone who is participating remotely and everyone who is participating in person has to literally be able to hear and see everyone and everything that's going on, in order to have equal access, if you will, to the process. So, but that's a policy decision to be made
Who makes that?
What's the council doing now?
by as I understand it, the board can make a policy decision, but the resources are provided by the municipality, by the borough. And a policy decision that is made is gonna have to take into consideration, in my opinion at least, the resources and the impact those resources have on the ability to ensure due process under the state and federal constitution for people to be able to participate remotely the same way people are participating in person and vice versa.
Okay,
And including gauging credibility of witnesses, et cetera, it becomes difficult. So those are just things for the board to consider, given the resources that may or may not be available to the board to utilize to try to enhance the likelihood that such quasi-judicial proceedings can take place and ensure the due process of everyone. That's what they say in the regulations.
Let me ask you a question. Is it a different rule for council than it is for?
Oh, it's absolutely different. Literally, that's what I was saying. I'm
yeah,
sorry if
I
wasn't
understand
clear.
that, but I also thought that we had talked about, or you had talked about, it came up that if you were gonna present, you had to be here, of course. And so anyway, and the second quick thing was, could you help me? I was confused because I thought that Mayor Knows had hired a traffic study team. Is that just for the council? Or is that not shared with the planning board? She's mentioned that in her,
Yeah.
it was traffic and parking, wasn't it?
The whole town. Not just for that.
I think Steve would have to.
It said traffic and parking in her.
I don't know, I'd have to inquire, but maybe the borough had a traffic expert involved in the redevelopment process, but I don't know if they did or they didn't.
But the planning board doesn't have
But
access.
the planning board, at least as of yet, has not retained
Okay,
a traffic, as you heard,
Yep.
it appears as if we will.
okay, thank you, all right, but the two were separate.
She was saying.
I'm sorry, we might want to wait a minute, just.
Got it.
Different session.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Sure.
No executive session, correct?
No executive session.
Okay, then we're adjourned.
Thank you very much. Thank you.